For 4 years, my relationship with Isabelle was a secret I had kept from the world. The moment a crazed fan lunged with a knife, I didn't hesitate. I threw myself in front of her, a human shield against the gleaming blade. I felt the sharp sting of the steel multiple times, but her eyes, full of concern, were fixed solely on her young assistant, Leo. "Don't look," she whispered to him, her voice trembling. "It's too gruesome." When I was finally discharged from the hospital, she stopped me at the door of the home we once shared. "Leo was terrified by the attack," she said, avoiding my gaze. "He's scared to be alone, so I told him he could stay here." Her voice was flat, devoid of emotion. "Seeing you, it will just bring back bad memories for him." She paused. "You should get a hotel. We can talk about our appointment at the city hall another time." I just nodded and turned away without a word. I had chased her for 8 years and loved her for 4. This was the 100th time she had canceled on me. It was enough. The marriage license could wait forever. As I stood in the cold, I could hear Leo's whining voice drift from inside the warm living room. "Bella, is that the food delivery? I'm starving." Isabelle's tone softened instantly, filled with a tenderness she no longer showed me. "No, honey. Stay inside where it's warm." A cold fist clenched around my heart. She knew it was cold outside, yet she had shut me out in the middle of a blizzard without a second thought. "I've booked a room for you," she continued, her voice hardening again. "Just go. And don't you dare play the victim. The doctor said you're recovering just fine." Even though I had already decided to let her go, her words felt like 100 tiny needles piercing my skin. I didn't say a word. I just turned and walked into the falling snow. The icy wind cut through my coat, chilling me to the bone. I checked the rideshare app on my phone. No cars available. It looked like I'd be walking. The snow was coming down harder now, burying the streets in a thick white blanket. I started to regret leaving the hospital. I should have stayed another day. Just then, a sleek black sedan materialized through the swirling snow and pulled up beside me. The window rolled down to reveal a familiar face. It was Sophia, my senior from college. "Ethan, what in the world are you doing out here?" she asked, her voice laced with alarm. "Get in, quickly." She didn't wait for an answer, leaning over to push the passenger door open. Before I could thank her, Isabelle's mocking voice cut through the wind. "I was just thinking of bringing an umbrella for someone, but I see he's already found a ride." I looked back. She was standing on the porch, holding 2 umbrellas and smirking at me. I shot her a cold glare, said nothing, and closed the car door. An umbrella? What good would that do for a man fresh out of the hospital in a blizzard? "Are you trying to get yourself killed? No umbrella in a storm like this." Sophia chided gently, handing me a soft towel. "Dry your hair before you catch a cold." I pulled my thin jacket tighter around myself. "Thank you, Sophia." My phone buzzed. A glance at the screen showed Isabelle's name. I ignored it. It buzzed again, relentlessly. With a heavy sigh, I answered. "Ethan, why did you get in another woman's car?" she demanded. I rubbed my tired eyes. What was I supposed to do? Walk back to the city in a blizzard? Our villa was in a remote area, miles from anywhere. It would have taken me hours. There was a brief silence on her end. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. "You could have asked me to drive you." A bitter laugh escaped my lips. "And leave Leo all by himself? I wouldn't dream of it." As if on cue, Leo's voice came through the phone, faint but clear. "Bella, I think we're out of sleeves." Isabelle's voice became frantic. "He means gloves. For the cold. He needs gloves." My face was a mask of stone. "There's another box in the bottom drawer of the nightstand. You two have fun." "Ethan, how dare you say something like that?" she shrieked, a mix of fury and embarrassment in her voice. I ended the call. A dull ache spread through my chest. I felt exhausted, physically and emotionally drained. I switched off my phone and closed my eyes. Sophia sighed softly from the driver's seat. "Some people just don't know how to cherish what they have." I managed a weak, sad smile, but said nothing. 12 years of my life, of knowing her, of loving her, had culminated in this, a pyre of deceit and hurt. I had taken a knife for her, and she hadn't even glanced my way, her world revolving entirely around her new assistant. There was nothing left to say. Sophia dropped me at the hotel. "Get some rest. Call me if you need anything." "Thanks again, Sophia," I said, a flicker of warmth cutting through the cold that had settled in my soul. I dragged my weary body to the front desk, only to be told my reservation had been canceled. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Of course, she had. I paid for a new room with my own money. I slept fitfully and woke up burning with fever. With trembling hands, I used a delivery app to order fever reducers and cough syrup. While I waited, I saw a new post from Leo on social media. My boss is the sweetest, making me medicine for my cold. The picture showed a collection of cold remedies next to a steaming bowl of rice porridge. Isabelle used to do that for me. She would make me soup, sit with me when I was sick. But that all changed the day Leo arrived. All the tenderness she once reserved for me was now lavished on him. It was amazing how quickly a person's heart could change. I opened my email and found the message from Onyx Records. I replied, accepting their offer. Onyx was a globally renowned music label, a place I had only dreamed of working with. In college, I was at the top of my music program. Singing was my life. But I had abandoned my dream to become Isabelle's manager, to help build her career. My own ambitions had been collecting dust ever since. Last month, on a whim, I uploaded a few demos to a music platform. I never expected a scout from Onyx to find them. They wanted to sign me, to send me to their headquarters in the United States for a year of intensive training. I was ecstatic. When I told Isabelle, her eyes welled up with tears. "Are you going to abandon me too, Ethan?" she'd whispered. Seeing her tears, my excitement evaporated, replaced by an icy chill. I told myself I could wait. Once her career was stable, I would chase my dreams. But now, I was done waiting. Their reply came almost instantly. "Welcome aboard. How soon can you start?" I glanced at the calendar. "Next week," I typed back. I changed the wallpaper on my phone. It had been a candid shot I had taken of her. She never liked posing for photos with me, afraid a leak would damage her career. And yet, in the past month, she had taken thousands of pictures with Leo. The fever broke the next morning, leaving me feeling clear-headed for the first time in a long while. I took a cab to the agency and handed my resignation to my boss. He looked at me with an expression of profound constipation. "Ethan, are you sure about this?" "I'm tired," I said simply. "I don't want to be a manager anymore." Isabelle was a moderately successful singer now. Finding a new manager wouldn't be difficult. My boss didn't press the issue. "Have you told Isabelle?" he asked hesitantly after we had finalized the paperwork. "She'll find out when the new manager arrives." He opened his mouth to say something more, then closed it. In our industry, relationships came and went like the seasons. Isabelle had a commercial performance that day. Even though I had resigned, the new manager hadn't started yet, so the job fell to me. I arrived early, setting everything up with the makeup artist and backup dancers. Isabelle and Leo arrived late, as usual. She was playfully dangling a half-eaten bag of spicy chips in front of Leo's face. When Leo saw me, he immediately put on a wounded expression. "Ethan, look. Bella stole my chips again." The crew exchanged awkward glances, some enjoying the drama, others offering a flicker of pity. I just shrugged. If she wanted to ruin her voice with spicy food, that was her business now, not mine. The moment Isabelle sat in the makeup chair, she held her hand out to me. I raised an eyebrow, questioning. She rolled her eyes impatiently. "My throat lozenges. What else?" In the past, whenever she indulged in spicy food, I would have a specially prepared herbal lozenge ready to protect her vocal cords. I wouldn't be doing that anymore. "Don't have any," I said flatly. "Ethan, are you serious?" she snapped. "I just pushed our appointment back a few days. You don't have to be so petty." I was tired of her games. I stood up and walked over to the stage manager to go over the schedule. Isabelle grabbed my left hand, her eyes wide. "Where's your ring? Did you forget it?" It wasn't expensive. It was part of a matching set she had bought with the money from her first ever gig. It was a size too small and had always been uncomfortable, but I had worn it for 4 years. I pulled my hand away. "You're not wearing yours either," I said coldly. She instinctively covered her left hand, her expression faltering. She had stopped wearing hers a year ago, right after she became famous, claiming it might affect her career if she was photographed with it. Perhaps the signs had been there all along. I had just been lying to myself. The performance was a huge success. Isabelle's stage presence had matured, and she was captivating under the spotlights. As I watched, her shine, a complex mix of emotions churned within me. After her final song, she held the microphone and addressed the cheering crowd. "For my next song, I'd like to invite someone very special to join me for a duet of my new single, My Beloved." My heart skipped a beat. She had sworn to me that she wrote this song about our love. She started walking in my direction, and my heart, which had been frozen all day, finally began to thaw. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe she was trying to fix us. The light in her eyes. Wasn't it for me? She stopped in front of me. Then, her voice sharp with annoyance, she said, "Move. You're blocking Leo." Leo walked past me with a triumphant smirk and extended his hand to Isabelle. Sorry about that, Ethan. Without a moment's hesitation, Isabelle took his hand, their fingers intertwining. They stood together, a perfect couple. My gaze locked onto their joined hands, and the last ember of hope within me died. They sang their love song to each other while the crowd roared its approval. I looked down, a self-deprecating smile on my lips as a tear slipped from the corner of my eye. I was a fool for ever thinking she could change. The dream was over. It was time to let go for good. After the show, as I was about to leave, Isabelle called out, "Ethan, wait." I stopped and turned. She tossed me her car keys. "Leo and I are going out to celebrate with some friends. You can drive my car back." She added, "They're all young. You don't drink, so you'd just be bored." Her backup dancers suddenly found the floor intensely interesting. I tossed the keys to a junior assistant nearby. "You take it." Isabelle's eyes flashed with anger. "Ethan, you know I hate anyone else driving my car." I looked at her, a faint, knowing smile on my face. What a coincidence. I don't like driving other people's cars either. Her chest heaved with fury. Just as she was about to lash out, her tirade was cut short by a sharp cry from Leo. "Ow!" Isabelle's anger vanished, replaced by instant concern. "Leo, what's wrong?" He was clutching his arm, his face twisted in pain. "It hurts, Bella. I think I got a splinter." I noticed then a piece of jagged wood sticking out from the edge of the stage, nearly invisible in the dim lighting. Leo must have leaned against it. Isabelle cradled his arm, examining it tenderly. "How could you be so careless?" "Let me see." Leo hissed in pain, but his eyes darted towards me. "I thought Ethan was supposed to have checked the stage for safety hazards," he said, his voice a mask of innocence. "What if you had been the one to get hurt, Bella?" His words were expertly aimed. Isabelle looked up, her eyes blazing with fury. "Ethan, look what you've done. Apologize to Leo right now." I stared at her face, contorted with rage, and felt a profound sense of desolation. There was a time when she couldn't bear to see anyone treat me unfairly. Now, she was the one doing it for someone else. "Apologize?" I scoffed. "For what? It's a huge stage. Am I supposed to be responsible for every splinter in every dark corner? Am I his nanny? Leo is hurt, and you're just making excuses. Why are you so cruel?" Leo gently tugged on her sleeve. "Bella, don't be angry. I'm sure Ethan didn't mean for it to happen," he murmured, all while shooting me a look of pure triumph. "See," his eyes seemed to say, "she cares about me more." I sneered internally, having no desire to watch another second of their pathetic performance. I turned to leave. "Ethan, you stop right there." A violent shove from behind sent me tumbling down the steep backstage staircase. I heard a chorus of gasps as I fell. A searing pain erupted from my abdomen. Through my blurred vision, I saw Isabelle standing at the top of the stairs, looking down at me. "That's for what you did, Ethan," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "An eye for an eye." Because of a few words, she had pushed me down a flight of stairs. The pain from my old knife wounds flared. I looked down and saw that my white shirt was already stained crimson with fresh blood. Isabelle saw it too, and for a second, she looked like she might step forward. But then Leo leaned against her weakly, as if he were about to collapse. "Bella, it hurts so much." She immediately turned her full attention to him. "Leo, let's get you to a hospital. We need to get that looked at." He whimpered in agreement, but not before casting one last, smugly triumphant glance in my direction. People started to gather, pointing and whispering. In the end, it was the junior assistant who called an ambulance. At the hospital, the doctor's face was grim. "Your old wounds have reopened. The tearing is severe. You need complete bed rest." For the next few days, I was an invalid. Isabelle never once came to visit. I was discharged 2 days early. When I returned to the apartment to pack, I realized there wasn't much to take. My presence had been minimal. The apartment, however, was filled with new things. A matching set of toothbrushes for Isabelle and Leo. I placed my half of the couple's ring set on the coffee table where she couldn't miss it. Once that was done, a wave of relief washed over me. As I was about to leave for the last time, my phone rang. It was Isabelle. "I've made a reservation at the Starlight tomorrow night. Be there." Her voice was light, as if nothing had happened. "I won't be." She sounded surprised. "What's wrong with you? I actually remembered our anniversary this time, and now you're backing out." It took me a moment to realize it was our 5-year anniversary. We'd had a massive fight last year because she'd forgotten. Now she remembered, but I no longer cared to celebrate. "Look, just stop being angry with me," she said, her tone impatient. "You've been so unreasonable these past few months. It's exhausting. Just show up tomorrow, and then we can pick a new date to go to City Hall. She hung up before I could reply. I laughed a hollow laugh, shrugged, and walked out of the apartment with my suitcase. I met up with a few old friends for a farewell drink. After a few beers, the whole story came pouring out. Dude, you really broke up? My friend Mark asked, slinging an arm over my shoulder. They had all witnessed my foolish devotion to Isabelle over the years and assumed this was just another fight. Let's not talk about it, I said, rubbing my temples. His loss, man, said Dave, raising his glass. Plenty of other fish in the sea. To freedom. We clinked our glasses and drank. I started laughing, a wild, liberating sound. I laughed at my own stupidity, at my pointless devotion, at the 12 years of my youth I had wasted on a lie. The next day, I didn't go to the Starlight. I went to the airport. On the way, Isabelle called, her voice frantic. Ethan, you might have to wait for me at the restaurant. Leo has a stomach bug. I have to take him to the ER first. Okay, I said calmly. I knew she would have an excuse. It was a relief not to have held out any hope. She must have sensed the finality in my tone. I'll be quick, I promise. Just wait for me, please. I'll head over as soon as I can. I watched the city blur past my window, a strange sense of peace settling over me. Her texts started flooding in, all begging me to wait. I didn't reply to a single one. As boarding time approached, she called again, her voice thick with anxiety. Ethan, I'm on my way now. Go ahead and order. Get whatever you want. Just then, the airport's boarding announcement echoed in the background. She heard it. Her voice cracked. Where are you? You're not at the restaurant. Isabelle, I said, my voice steady. Let's just end this. I don't want to get married, and I don't want to see you again. What are you talking about? She gasped, her disbelief palpable. Are you at the airport? Where are you going? I hung up the phone, removed the SIM card, and dropped it into a trash can. On a massive screen in the departure hall, a commercial played, showing Isabelle and Leo singing My Beloved to each other. The tagline was a final, bitter twist of the knife, singing to the beloved in my heart. Isabelle and Leo's sweet new single, My Beloved, is out now. I remembered my boss's suggestion months ago. Bella, the fans know you have a long-term boyfriend. Ethan's a fantastic singer. Why not do a duet? It would be great publicity. She had scoffed. I want my fans to focus on my work, not my private life. Now, she had given her first duet to Leo. I turned away from the screen and walked toward the gate without looking back. Landing in a new country felt like taking my first breath. The person who came to pick me up was, to my surprise, Sophia. Surprise, she said, giving me a warm hug before effortlessly taking my suitcase. I was the one who recommended you to Onyx, she explained with a smile. And from now on, I'll be your mentor. I was stunned for a moment, then nodded, a deep sense of gratitude washing over me. Sophia had been the president of our university's music club and had become a powerhouse in the industry. In fact, she was the one I had asked for help when Isabelle first wanted to get into entertainment. In her car, she pointed to the glove compartment. There are unscented tissues in there. I know you use them. I froze. My rhinitis was severe, and I could only use unscented tissues. It was a small detail even Isabelle had never bothered to remember. How did Sophia know? Thanks, Sophia, I said, feeling a warmth spread through me. How did you remember that? She smiled as she started the car. Years ago, when you were helping me move, you accidentally knocked over my makeup bag. I remember you spent forever searching for unscented tissues to clean it up with. I scratched my head, embarrassed that she remembered something from so long ago. She took me to a private restaurant and expertly ordered several light, healthy dishes. It's a shame they don't have water spinach, she muttered. I know it's your favorite. I stared at her, utterly shocked. How did she know so much about me? It felt as if she had been quietly paying attention for a very long time. How did you know I like water spinach? Sophia gave me a sly grin. That's a secret. That meal was the most relaxing I'd had in years. Talking with Sophia felt easy and natural, like we were back in college again. At Onyx Records, I absorbed everything like a sponge. Sophia was a brilliant mentor. She was sharp and incisive in her professional critiques, but always knew exactly how to encourage me when I felt discouraged. In our personal time, her thoughtfulness was astonishing. She knew I drank black coffee when I was composing, so she'd leave a small plate of almond cookies nearby to balance the bitterness and protect your stomach. These were small things, but they were things no one had ever done for me before. My passion for music, long dormant, roared back to life. Inspiration flowed, and I wrote a new song, its melody filled with hope for my new life and gratitude for Sophia. I called it Sunlight and gave her the demo as a gift. Sophia, thank you, I said, my heart beating a little faster than usual as I handed it to her. She listened intently, a smile playing on her lips. Ethan, this is incredible. It reminds me of our days in the music club, just pouring our hearts into our work. She paused, her voice tinged with nostalgia. You've grown so much. You're even more brilliant than you were back then. I had a good teacher, I replied, feeling a blush creep up my neck. Sunlight was released to unexpectedly rave reviews. My social media following exploded. Meanwhile, news from home wasn't so good. Isabelle and Leo's duet, My Beloved, had flopped. Critics called their performance weak and lacking chemistry. One review said they had all the emotional depth of a GPS. Reading directions. Worse, Leo's past came back to haunt him. Stories surfaced of him cheating on multiple partners in high school, with unconfirmed but damaging rumors of a teenage pregnancy. Since Isabelle had built her recent brand around their couple dynamic, her reputation was dragged down with his. When I saw the news, all I could think was, you reap what you sow. The following months were a whirlwind. My songs topped the charts, and my face was on the cover of magazines. For years, I had lived in Isabelle's shadow. Now, I finally had a stage of my own. After a sold-out concert, I collapsed onto my hotel bed, exhausted but happy. A call came through from an unknown number. I answered it by mistake. It was Isabelle. Ethan, can we talk? There's nothing to talk about. I was about to hang up. Please, Ethan, just listen, she pleaded. None of it is true. I was never with Leo. I cut her off, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Isabelle, stop bothering me. The music industry was a small world. It wasn't surprising she had found my number. A few seconds of silence passed, then the sound of her suppressed sobs. Ethan, let's get married. Please. I'll fly out to you right now. I've been missing you so much. I let out a cold laugh and hung up, blocking her number immediately. She didn't miss me. She missed the success I now had. Her love had always been intertwined with ambition and selfishness. To my shock, she was waiting outside my office building the next morning. When she saw me, tears streamed down her face. Ethan, what are you doing here? It's not true, Ethan. The rumors are all lies. There was never anything between me and Leo. You have to believe me. You're the only one I've ever loved. Looking at her theatrical display, I felt nothing but disgust. For 4 years, she had hidden me away like a dirty secret. Now that her new partner had crashed and burned, she wanted me back to clean up her mess. Isabelle, we're over. Leave me alone. I know you're still angry, she cried, her tears flowing faster. Let's get married, okay? We can go right now. I took a deep breath. Isabelle, have you had enough of this drama? I'll say it one more time. We are broken up. She clung to my arm, refusing to let go. Ethan, please, just give me one more chance. I love you so much. I can't live without you. Love me? If she loved me, she wouldn't have canceled on our future 100 times. She wouldn't have pushed me away again and again. My voice was ice. I've had enough of your love. Let go. It's better for both of us. I pried her hands off my arm and walked into the building. When I left work that evening, she was still there. She ran up to me, holding out our old couple's ring. Have you forgotten everything we had? I stopped, annoyance bubbling up inside me. Fine, let's get this over with. No, let me talk first, she interrupted. Let's go see your parents when we get back. You always said they'd love me. I'll keep my distance from Leo. I'll be a good wife to you. The irony was staggering. I had begged her to meet my parents for years, and she had always refused. Now, it was all she could offer. But it was too late. Isabelle, I said calmly, we ended the moment you chose him over me, time and time again. She acted as if she hadn't heard me. I made you your favorite seafood stew. See, I learned how to cook all the things you love. My brow furrowed in disgust. No, thank you. She grabbed my arm again. But it's delicious. It used to be your favorite. From now on, I'll do everything you want. I know I neglected you, and I was wrong. Please, forgive me. I looked at her, my eyes devoid of any emotion, and pulled my arm free. I don't need you to. I'm allergic to seafood. She froze, tears still clinging to her eyelashes. She looked utterly ridiculous. The one who loves seafood, I added quietly, is Leo. Her composure finally shattered, and she broke down into gut-wrenching sobs. It was all so meaningless. She wasn't sorry for what she had done. She was just sorry she had lost me. If she had ever truly loved me, how could she forget something so fundamental? She used to joke that no seafood was allowed within a 30-foot radius of me. I called her new manager and told him to come and collect his star. The entire scene was, of course, filmed and posted online. In the video, Isabelle was a weeping mess, and I was the cold, heartless ex. Soon, our entire history was dredged up by online sleuths. Hashtags like hashtag Isabelle the user and hashtag Justice for Ethan trended for days. Honestly, I wanted nothing more to do with her. I just wanted her to disappear from my life. I logged onto my social media and posted a single, clear statement. Ms. Isabelle and I amicably ended our relationship several months ago. I am currently in a new relationship. I ask that the public refrain from further speculation. I also request that Ms. Isabelle cease all forms of harassment, or I will be forced to pursue legal action. Getting together with Sophia was both unexpected and inevitable. At a party celebrating my album's success, she, emboldened by a little wine, confessed her feelings for me. The love in her eyes was so intense it felt like it could melt me. In that moment, I realized my feelings for her had long since grown beyond gratitude and friendship. I told her I felt the same, and we began our new chapter together. Then, the accusation started. A rumor began to spread that my song, Sunlight, was a plagiarism of Isabelle's My Beloved. I watched the so-called comparison videos. The claims were laughable, consisting of chopped-up melodies. Taken out of context, it was a clear and desperate smear campaign. Isabelle's remaining fans flooded my accounts, calling me a thief and a fraud. The hateful comments were relentless, and they started targeting Sophia as well. That I could not tolerate. My silence ended. I posted the original demo track for My Beloved online with a simple caption. I composed the music for My Beloved. Ms. Isabelle wrote the lyrics. To claim that I plagiarized myself is the height of absurdity. As for Sunlight, anyone with a basic understanding of music can hear they are two completely different compositions. A word of advice to certain individuals: spend less time slinging mud and more time honing your craft. I also released the full musical stems for both songs, inviting professionals to analyze them. The verdict was swift and unanimous. Sunlight was entirely original. Isabelle's fans, faced with undeniable proof, began to retreat and apologize. The narrative that Isabelle was a musical genius crumbled overnight, revealing that much of her talent had been my uncredited work. Her fan base imploded. After my statement, the world became quiet again. Isabelle disappeared from public life entirely. Her manager claimed she was taking time off to recover from exhaustion. Life with Sophia was easy and sweet. She wasn't like Isabelle, a fragile doll I had to constantly protect and appease. Sophia's love was passionate and honest, a bonfire in the winter of my heart. I wrote a song for her, this one called Forever. On stage, at the end of a sold-out stadium tour, with thousands of lights shining down, I got on one knee. I held out a diamond ring. Sophia, will you marry me? She cried, happy, childlike tears, but her smile was brighter than any spotlight. She nodded furiously, choking out, yes, I will. Backstage, as we were about to celebrate, a woman in a janitor's uniform rushed towards us. She was holding a bottle filled with some kind of liquid and muttering to herself. Ethan, you can't be with her. You belong to me. It was Isabelle. Her hair was matted, and her eyes were empty and haunted. My blood ran cold. I instinctively pushed Sophia behind me. Isabelle, what are you doing? She ignored me and lunged, throwing the contents of the bottle. Sophia screamed and threw herself in front of me. The liquid splashed across my face. The acrid smell of disinfectant filled the air. It wasn't acid. Thank God. A wave of relief and fury washed over me. I grabbed Isabelle by the collar. Are you insane? She just stood there, vacant, whispering, we'll die together, together. Security guards arrived and restrained her. As they led her away, a flicker of light returned to her eyes. She stared right at me and screamed, you do love me, Ethan? You do. I called the police. Later, I learned the full extent of her breakdown. She had been diagnosed with severe clinical depression, accompanied by delusions and hallucinations. She was committed to a psychiatric hospital. The news left me with a profound sense of sadness. She had been so bright, so dazzling. To see her reduced to this was a tragedy. But I could neither understand nor forgive what she had done. My wedding to Sophia went on as planned. The venue was beautiful, and Sophia, in her white dress, looked like a princess from a fairy tale. As I stood at the altar and watched her walk towards me, my eyes filled with tears. After everything we had been through, we had found our way to each other. In that moment, I knew with absolute certainty that Sophia was my forever.